Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Rogue Reviews. I am Groot.
And I'm Baby Groot.
That's not what he says.
Oh, I'm Groot.
Oh my gosh. Cut. My name's Evan.
My name's Nolan.
Tonight we saw the awesome and amazing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. So Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is written and directed by James Gunn and stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Michael Rooker, Kurt Russell, and also the voice talent of Bradley Cooper as Rocket and Vin Diesel as Baby Groot.
So, since we already know there's a ton of pros, let's get the cons out of the way.
The only con, and this is nitpicking about this movie, is just the pacing of it is sometimes it will slow down to a halt in like the middle. Like it takes a while for the story to get going. But that is really the only really issue I have with this movie. Otherwise, it was just a thrill ride from start to finish. Like, when the story finally kicks into high gear, that's when this movie really shines. And I understand why they kind of had to do it in the way they did, because you didn't want it. There's like a big reveal at the end, and if you got that earlier, it wouldn't have made the impact it did later in the film.
I can see where you're coming from, where it's almost like you don't know what the movie is going for at least the first half. You'd like, okay, who am I not supposed to like? What's going on with the story in regards to this establishment of the series? Basically, like we know the Guardians of the Galaxy are, and we get a little more backstory on, of course, family and characters, and a little bit some origin stories in there. But as far as the movie plot itself, it doesn't quite reveal itself until much later in the movie.
Yeah.
I could see where that can cause some pacing issues. I can't really think of any other cons in that.
No, and like I said, that was just nitpicking. Like,
yeah.
You don't really notice it unless you have to really think about it afterwards and like, all right, what was the one thing that was wrong with that?
I thought the unveilment of every event was actually pretty well done. It was very consistent. You had your, opening scene leading into the next, and this because of this, and that because of that, and I thought it didn't have any moments where it's like, why is this here? It was just consistent dominoes throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the pros.
Pros, I really like the themes of this movie that, like, James Gunn is always that guy that he can do the big action and everything, but he really understands these characters, and he really makes the heartfelt moments work in this movie. And it works way better than you think it should. Like, the family ties, it's really a story about fatherhood and kind of who we identify as our fathers and stuff. And in that moment, like, I felt like James Gunn did a really good job with Chris Pratt and kind of like him realizing, how he grew up and what that journey took him through.
Chris Pratt's our grounding throughout the movie. He's the one who came from Earth, obviously, where we reside. And in a universe of Guardians of the Galaxy where everything is so bombastic and huge and, crazy CGI, and we have all these alien races and creatures, he still brings that element that we have, which is the heart of the film. And where he brings just the emotions of how catastrophic some decisions that can seem so minuscule in the vast majority of the universe still means so much.
Yeah.
And Chris Pratt brought that to the table, and we love the guy. I mean, everyone loves Chris. He can act, and he just brings this genuine character to everything that he does, and it does not fall short in this film.
I think the other big player that I wasn't expecting to be, like, you watch the first movie and Yondu is a big part, and you realize, oh man, this guy's awesome. The arrow, they set him up to be such a badass. In this movie, they really fleshed him out more and gave him way more depth than I thought I needed from him as a character, which really shined throughout this movie, and you really understand what this guy went through. In the first movie, he's just kind of set up as a semi-villain, but not really. In this movie, you really understand his motivations, and that, to me, was kind of a revelation for him.
Anything that the previous film brought to light where you kind of weren't sure where they were coming from, or why they make the decisions that they do, or why Yondu would laugh in the first film over their decisions, or why he kind of had this, sympathetic way to him about it, and that dives into what they unveil with his character and his origins and his personality more off, because we don't see that in the first film. And that goes for everybody. Like I said earlier, this is a big origins film. Bringing back so much depth to these characters that were established in the first film was just being badass. Now we get into the meat. We get into the meat and beans, and we get into the guts of why these people are the way they are. And, of course, doing that adds so much more weight to the film.
Another big plus for me was the humor in this movie. I mean, it just killed it on all levels. The movie just keeps you laughing throughout the movie, particularly with...
I'm laughing now.
Yeah, exactly. With Rocket, Drax is hysterical. Baby Groot, not a spoiler, completely steals the opening scene and steals any scene that he's in. You just heard...
Very clever.
Yeah, it's adorable. And Yondu had some pretty funny moments too. And, of course, Star-Lord. Like, they're all just... James Gunn has such smart humor that's not dumb, that just keeps you going, and it keeps that comedic tone throughout the film where it never gets old and you're never like, some Marvel movies fall in that trap of too many jokes. But this one is perfectly set up to keep that tone throughout the movie.
I think the whole comedic tone is just carried by Drax. Like,
yeah.
the genuine, naive sense of humor that he brings, it just brings everyone back to ground zero in jokes, and how like the simplest thing is just a hoot to him.
Yeah.
So that just made it so much more funnier. I don't know. I thought his character with comedy was just dead on. We have some new players in this film, and they provide more to the comedy as well. So it was definitely a must going into Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We had to have the jokes, and we definitely got them.
All right, so what would you rate Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
I'm going to go 8.5.
I think the original Guardians of the Galaxy was such a game changer. Marvel doesn't make bad movies. And most they make movies that make you go, like Thor: The Dark World. I was like, I could take it, believe it. The first Guardians was that game changer, that just introduced us to this whole cosmic universe that Marvel has.
Just fun.
Yeah, and you just was like, it was that wild thrill ride. This continues that. It's not quite as good, not quite as tight story-wise as the first one. So I have to agree with you. 8.5 is a solid rating for this movie. It's just a load of fun and a great way to kick off the summer movie season.
Definitely worth your money in buying a ticket. Buy the Blu-ray when it comes out.
There are 5 post-credit scenes, so stick around.
FYI, 5 of them.
It's ridiculous.
I think that's a first. Yeah, so there it is, guys. Go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It was amazing. There you have the breakdown from us. Leave a like if you like the video. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. And we will catch you guys in the next review. Thanks for hanging out.
All right, time to go make my mixtape.